Scottish Cup fourth round weekend starts right here, and Aberdeen against St Mirren at Pittodrie is an intriguing way to get started. It's second in the Premiership against the Championship leaders. Can the Saints go marching out of here with a cup upset to their name? We'll find out over the next couple of hours. A blue sky over Pittodrie. It is crisp in the northeast, that's for sure. Aberdeen against St Mirren live on the BBC as our comprehensive coverage of the competition kicks off. We will have a live match for you in every round, all the way to the final, including the final, of course. It's always a big day, isn't it, in the football calendar? But of course, the weather has had an impact on some of the matches. Albion Rovers against St Johnstone is the latest cup tie to be called off. There's an inspection going on at the moment, not too far from here at Bellsleigh. Fraserburgh against Rangers is due to be played tomorrow. That will be decided shortly whether that one can go ahead, and we'll keep you posted with any other matches which fall victim to the elements in the next little while. But our full focus, of course, is on Aberdeen against St Mirren. We're in the company of these two, whether you like it or not. William Miller, who had the Scottish Cup on his mantelpiece for most of the 80s, and Stephen Thompson, a St Mirren legend, of course, part of the League Cup winning team nearly 5 years ago, and whose name is being chanted regularly in the background here today. For Aberdeen, Willie, it's realistically their only chance of winning a trophy this season.
Yeah, it is, Rob, and I think they've definitely got their eye on lifting the trophy this season. Listening to some of Derek McInnes's comments, and I think it rankles a little bit with Derek that coming up to 5 years in charge of the club, he's only got one trophy. I think last season going very close to it against a very good Celtic side. This season going in at very early stages at home at Pittodrie against a very good St Mirren's team. They'll definitely be looking to take this tie and progress and hopefully get to that final, and even more important, actually lift that trophy.
You'll be interested to know that you've got the day off tomorrow, because I did mention that Fraserburgh Rangers game a couple of moments ago. It has been called off. They've had the inspection. I think it was just a formality, really. There was a game at Peterhead that was called off, so it was always unlikely that one was going to go ahead. So Fraserburgh against Rangers, if you're planning it tomorrow, well, don't, because it is off. Back to Stephen, back to today's match. It'd be good if you could get that drummer to keep quiet so that we can hear each other think. Is this something of a free hit for Saints, Stephen, because promotion is the preoccupation?
It's definitely the priority for St Mirren to get back to the Premiership, but they'll come here full of belief and confidence that they can get a result. And I think they can. They've got players on the top end of the pitch. Obviously Lewis Morgan, but Gavin Riley scored 20 goals this season. On the opposite side, Kyle McGuinness, another academy product, has had a fantastic season. And Cammy Smith in the hole will cause problems today. St Mirren, I think, can come here full of confidence and belief that they can get a result.
Aberdeen will miss Scott McKenna, who's suspended. I mean, he's a youngster, but he's become a big part of that back line.
Yeah, just about first in the team sheet, I would suggest, since coming in. After that mauling against Motherwell, coming in and really making a name for himself, a big name for himself. Physical centre back, good in the air, can use the ball well, very strong, determined young player. They'll definitely miss him, but they've got able people to come in, players to come in and take his position.
We'll talk a little bit more about the St Mirren lineup shortly, which is unchanged, but let's get the thoughts of the two managers. They've both been speaking to Chris McLaughlin, Jack Ross of St Mirren. Firstly, Aberdeen's Derek McInnes.
Derek, back rested and ready to go?
Yeah, very much so. Obviously we get the benefit of that last year, we felt, after the winter break, and the first game back was the Scottish Cup. It was a straightforward 4-0 game against Stranraer here. This is a wee bit more of a challenge we'd anticipate. We're up against a team who are in good form, and they've got that added ingredient of being at the top of their own league and winning most weeks, so they've got that confidence within them. So I think we've got a challenge, but we're glad to be at home, we're glad to be back and about the action, and we want to show our motivation for the whole tournament and the performance today.
It's as ever a strong looking 11. No Scott McKenna, who's suspended. Carrie Arneson missing from the squad. Is there an issue there?
Slight issue, just nothing too serious. Just reported yesterday morning with a slight little groin strain. We thought it'd be okay, it would settle down. I think it's just the change of surfaces. This week we've been on AstroTurf indoor with the conditions, and the pitch being a bit soft when we're on grass. So I think it's just maybe a consequence of that. But it should be okay for midweek, and it's more precautionary than anything.
Niall McGinn is back, he's on the bench. I'm assuming that's just a lack of match fitness?
Yeah, like a lot of our signings when we signed in the summer, there was a case where they weren't quite up to it in terms of the games, but he's also had an added complication with a little bit of surgery, but he's been fine, he's been back in training, he's done a lot of work when we were away in Dubai there, and he's really accelerated his work over the last 3 or 4 days, so he's been in training. So no, I think there's a good chance we'll see Niall today, and it's absolutely delighted to get him back because he looks fantastic as he always does, and you know, he's eager to show and eager to show exactly why he came back and show his worth, and I think we'll see him at some point, but how many minutes he gets will be determined really in how the game goes.
Derek, thank you, good luck.
Thank you. Cheers, Chris.
Jack, you're flying high in the league at the moment. What kind of statement could you make here in the Cup today?
Well, I think it would be a good indication of how good this team is and how good the players are individually. They're under no illusions, and our preparation this week has been very much about how good the team Aberdeen are and how good we'll have to play in order to give ourselves a chance to take something from the game. But I think probably more individually, we have a number of young players in our team who have aspirations to play at a higher level, and it's a terrific opportunity for them to showcase their abilities at a really tough venue.
It's a very attack-looking starting 11. Do you just go for it today?
Well, yes and no. I think the personnel have earned the right to play here today because they've been consistently good. We'll tweak how we play a little bit, and that's to try and take into account of the threat that Aberdeen pose. But the one thing that we've had all season is a good threat middle to front, and it would be remiss of me to try and take that away from them, despite the fact we're at a difficult venue, as I said. So they have to have that trust in themselves to do it. They also understand how hard they're going to have to work defensively in order to give ourselves a platform to win the game.
Just finally, a couple of new boys on the bench today. We expect to see them at some point?
Yeah, I would think so. That's very much the reason they've been brought in, is to strengthen us as a group, and the fact that I have them now available gives me encouragement, and hopefully they'll play a part today at some point.
Jack, thank you, good luck.
Thanks, Chris.
It's all about maintaining momentum for Jack Ross and St Mirren. They've got plenty of that about them at the moment. Dangerous opponents for Aberdeen, you feel, who will want to stamp their authority, will they, all over this match right from the start, and Graham Shinnie is a key man in that regard.
Absolutely, Rob. He's been magnificent for a number of seasons now. A great leader of men, leads by example. He sets the tempo in the midfield in a number of ways, both breaking up play, closing down players and making sure the opposition, don't have any control in that area, but also getting forward. He's got a knack of getting himself forward into attacking positions as well. But I think it's really how he goes about his job. He goes out there, he sets an example, the rest follow his lead, and he's so important to Aberdeen.
One man for St Mirren, Stephen, who you would imagine is going to be inspired by being back here, which is his former workplace, is Cammy Smith. How good has he been for St Mirren?
He's been fabulous this season. I was down at Dumbarton last weekend and I watched him play, and he was absolutely outstanding. He plays that number 10 role ever so well, goes and links the play, gets into pockets of space. He's a clever, intelligent player, and I think he'll be a big player this afternoon. Aberdeen need to watch him.
Some people will have written their script already for today. Lewis Morgan starting for St Mirren and maybe sparking a cup upset here. He's a player you know well, because when you were at Saints, he was really coming through.
Yeah, just as a kid, it was great to catch up with him the other day, and he's such a level-headed boy, really calm and composed. Nothing phases him, and he's really developed, especially in the last 12 months, and he's brought a level of consistency to his play, and he's a top player.
And here's what happened when Stephen met Lewis.
So, do you know that we share a special moment in one particular game for very, very different reasons? And it was against Rangers a couple of seasons ago.
I think you were on your way out, and that was.
I was well on my way out.
I was just starting off my career. That's probably what introduced me to the big stage, and I wanted to make sure you had a positive result to go out on.
Lewis Morgan cutting inside and scoring.
Obviously, that was a great moment for me to score against Rangers in the last minute of the last game of the season.
So you remember that more than the actual fact it was my last ever game in football?
No, I think the whole day was about you and Goody, to be fair. I think my goal kind of got lost in it.
It seems like an awful lot's happened in the last 4 years since you ironically made your debut against Celtic. Have you managed to take it all in?
My mind had pretty much been made up since about November time, so I've been able to try and get my head around everything that's came with that. I'm coping with it well, and I'm just really looking forward to the challenge.
So does it concern you at all when you look at Celtic in the last couple of years signing top Scottish talent like Ryan Christie and Scott Allen? and they go to Celtic and they don't get enough game time?
It's going to be hard to break in, and I'm under no illusion about that, but I've got to have confidence in myself that I can go there and do it. I think you look at Stuart Armstrong, he's had great success when he's went there, and there's others before him that it hasn't worked out for, but he's a great role model for a young Scottish player like myself, that if I do well, there's no reason why I can't kick on.
St Mirren have had unbelievable success in terms of their academy players getting moves to bigger clubs. Obviously you're the latest, but we've had John McGinn, Kenny McLean, Stephen Mallon, Kyle McAllister. What do you think the factor is there?
I think there's a clear pathway into the first team from under-20s, and I think there's hopefully another line coming through, but the coaching that most of the boys received pretty much key, and all the players developing and progressing on to the first team stage. Hopefully that can continue because we're reaping the benefits of it at the moment.
So the only downside to you leaving St Mirren is the fact, and going to Celtic, is the fact that you won't be Struan, my wee boy's favourite player anymore. Does that upset you?
That does upset me. I thought I would carry on.
No.
I thought I'd hope to follow my career.
Once you leave St Mirren, it's over.
Who's his next then?
I don't know. Kyle McGuinness.
Kyle McGuinness.
Could be a tough afternoon, Willie Miller, for Shay Logan if Lewis Morgan lives up to billing.
Yeah, absolutely. A very talented young player, you know, still developing, looking to make a name. And this is a kind of stage that you're afforded to go out and put in a performance. But he's up against a very good fullback here in Shay Logan, quick, intelligent. And they'll have to play his part as well defensively because Shay Logan likes to get forward too. But a very interesting contest between these two this afternoon.
Signed by Celtic, Stephen, and immediately loaned back to St Mirren.
Thank goodness.
Will he look at the example of Ryan Christie and wonder whether he will get games?
Yeah, he's a very confident young player. Ryan Christie is somebody who I rate very highly. He's been sensational for Aberdeen this season, and I think if he does go back to Celtic, he might get more game time. You know, he's been pivotal to Aberdeen this season where he's played in the team, and he'll have a big part to play this afternoon.
Yeah, he could be creatively a big factor here.
He is. He's a creative player, Rob, you know, and watching him play, perhaps wide in the right, you know, perhaps on the left as well, because he pops up on both sides.
He drifts, doesn't he?
Yeah, you know, he gets to the byline, he puts in some decent crosses as well. He's a very intelligent player, and he can score goals too. He's got an eye for a goal as well.
Quick thought, how's it going?
The game?
Yeah.
St Mirren 3-0.
Will he?
No, I think Aberdeen will win. If they play to their form, I fancy them to win comfortably.
Well, there they are, teams in the tunnel, all set to go fourth round of the Scottish Cup. It all starts here. Aberdeen against St Mirren, live on the BBC. Former Aberdeen striker Billy Dodds, alongside match commentator Liam McLeod.
Thank you, Rob. Good afternoon to you from Pittodrie and the beginning of the fourth round. Interesting to see Cammy Smith just in the left-hand side of the picture. Their former Aberdeen player, indeed won the League Cup as an Aberdeen player when he replaced Johnny Hayes early in that final at Celtic Park. And the Dons looking to lift silverware for the first time since then. Derry McInnes will irk with him that it is just the one trophy, as the guys were saying. He hasn't been able to add to that. He's desperate to do so. St Mirren, arguably a bigger fish to fry with regards to the championship and promotion to the top flight. But they'd fancy a cup run as well. And it would be a big statement if they can come to Pittodrie and knock out the second best team in the country. Well, no, the Central Belt has been hit with a deluge of snow over the last few days, particularly yesterday. Not a flake has fallen on Aberdeen over this last period. It's a glorious day in the northeast. It is very cold, but it is perfect weather-wise for a fourth round tie. Well, Aberdeen, unsurprisingly, have Joe Lewis between the sticks this afternoon. There is a surprise in defence. Gary Arneson hasn't made it. Scott McKenna is suspended by virtue of the red card he received playing for Ayr United on loan at Hibernian in this competition last season. Shinnie and McLean will sit behind Stuart Christie and Mackay-Steven, and Adam Rooney is up front. Niall McGinn, as you can see on the left, returning to the club, fit only for the bench. Stevie Mays also made that. There are no surprises in the Saints team. Their League Cup winning goalkeeper Craig Sampson begins in goal, and then the back four there. Liam Smith, who's on loan from Hearts, plays at right back. Adam Eckersley is fit enough only for the bench, so Stelios continues at left back with Baird and Davis in the middle. Davis scored that goal at Celtic Park in this tournament last season. Stephen McGinn and McShane in the middle with McGuinness, former Don Smith, and Morgan, who's just signed for Celtic, back at the Paisley Club on loan. A 20-goal Gavin Riley is up front. It's been a fabulous season for him, including 4 goals in the last round victory over Lothian Thistle Hutchison Vale. Don Robertson is the man in charge this afternoon. And the two skippers there, Stephen McGinn and Graham Shinney, they have both been integral parts of their respective sides this term.
And as always, you are the most important part. You are the 12th man around the ground.
It's always an exciting weekend in the Scottish football calendar. 4th round day. It's Jack Ross pitting his wits against Derek McInnes, as the big guns from the Premiership enter the competition for the first time this season. Plenty to look forward to across the weekend, plenty to look forward to here at Pittodrie. The 4th round underway. Aberdeen saw their hopes, of course, of ending that long wait for the trophy, ended by that late treble securing Tom Rogic goal in the embers of last season's final against Celtic. Alex Smith, the last man to lead Aberdeen to the trophy. He was also the last man to lead St Mirren to this trophy when he did so 3 years before he did with the Dons. Top of the championship, Billy Dodds, against second in the Premiership. It's a very, very intriguing time.
Yeah, top of the championship and play well. We get an attack right away. Lewis Morgan.
Morgan blocked by Reynolds, but that will be a source of real encouragement for St Mirren. Morgan going up against Shea Logan this afternoon.
Yeah, you can see how confident they are. A nice slip pass through. Morgan sets him free, and with the confidence he's in, scoring goals in his move to Celtic, tries a shot.
Seems they're going to make an early impression here. It's Aberdeen able to clear through Logan. Here's Christie. First touch of the ball for him. He's been very impressive. Second loan spell here from Celtic. Anthony O'Connor playing at centre-half today. He has been in midfield for much of this campaign. Derek McInnes is keen to get him on an extended deal as current contract runs out at the end of the term. The Saints are enjoying plenty early possession inside Aberdeen territory. Stelios away by O'Connor. Seven games unbeaten, St Mirren coming into this one.
Yeah, you were just talking about it, Liam, and Lewis Morgan had that chance, but any team at any level, you know, scoring goals and not losing many at any level of football, they're going to come here with great confidence, so it's going to be a good test for Aberdeen. But they've been there before, they've got an out and experienced team today, and you know, Aberdeen can win games by winning them 1-0 and then shutting up shop, but they can also, if they get a couple of early goals, go on and win it in style. So they've got enough experience out there today, but it's going to be a good test for them, that is for sure.
Perhaps not just looking to make amends for their Scottish Cup final defeat last season, heartbreaking as it was, but also their League Cup exit, which came at the hands of Motherwell back in September at Fir Park. They were insipid on the night. Derek McInnes described it as a belt in the mouth. They do have a chance to make up for it here. Stewart is fouled by Stelios.
I think you see early in the game that the pitch is not looking its best. It's been like that over the last few years at Pittodrie, and any time they get it down and try to pass it, there's been a few mistakes being made already.
Already St Mirren looking to make hay down that left-hand side. Stelios and Morgan interchanging well, just too much on it for Smith. Shinnie's worked it to Rooney. He's trying to fire it out to Mackay-Steven, but referee Robertson's going to bring it back for the he perceived to be the foul on Graham Shinnie.
I'm sure the Aberdeen fans would have liked an advantage there. Didn't see it. Don Robertson, it was a good ball wide from Rooney, gets it to Mackay-Steven and he catches it, so he's got a 1-on-1 situation, but the referee pulls it back.
Foul by Stephen McGinn. Brother John won this tournament 2 seasons ago with Hibs. Still very much part of the Hibs engine room and will be crossing the city to Tynecastle in the standout tie of the round as that goes out to play for a throw-in for the Dons. Greg Stewart getting a start this afternoon. It's just beginning to look a bit more like the player we saw at Dundee, where he was nominated for the Player of the Year twice. He's on to it here. Liam Smith managed to get it clear. Now McShane. Dennis loses out in the middle of the park. Here's Shinnie. And he has it pinched off him. He's trying to win it back, and well, he did so, but illegally, says the ref.
Just what I was talking about, either passing or trying to run with it, especially today, is going to cause problems. Cammy Smith getting tight with Shinnie. You can see the little tug there, even though Shinnie comes out with the ball, but referee gives a free kick to St Mirren. Rightly so.
Saints have happy memories of Pittodrie recently. They haven't won here since 2012, but that victory was in the quarter-finals of the League Cup. Of course, they went on to win the trophy that season. Kenny McLean, the Aberdeen team, of course, former Saint. Considine. Aberdeen still to settle in this game.
I think what you're seeing, Liam, is St Mirren playing with confidence, usually up in the faces of other teams in the Championship. Today they're sitting, waiting for an Aberdeen mistake to pounce.
Here's Greg Stewart, got it from Christie. Down goes Stewart, penalty! And Don Robertson was in no doubt at all. And it's Stelios with the challenge on Greg Stewart.
I don't think he can have any complaints. He switched off from a throw-in earlier in the game, and when you go to ground like that, you're taking the risk, and there's a contact. Little as it is, but it's enough to take Greg Stewart down. I don't think St Mirren can have any complaints, and it's a horrendous start for them. 7th minute, and could go one down from the penalty spot.
Well, Aberdeen have had 3 penalties this season. They have scored all of them. Adam Rooney steps up to take his 2nd penalty of the season. He's been Aberdeen's main man for so many seasons now, and the man who won them the League Cup with a decisive kick in the shootout against Cali Thistle gives them the lead against the Championship leaders. Decisive.
Yeah, not surprising he stuck it away. All that experience. Slow. It's got good direction, it's in the corner, good pace. Samson goes the other way.
Well, a terrible start for St Mirren, but Aberdeen in front inside the opening 8 minutes of the game. And Adam Rooney grabbing goal number 7 of the season. He's not perhaps been quite as prolific as we have seen in recent campaigns. And that's a big goal for Aberdeen.
It's out of nothing as well, because you said it's been a quiet start for Aberdeen. There have been a couple of mistakes from them, and suddenly St Mirren sitting off, making it difficult, as I was saying, wait to pounce. And you know, it's a cheap goal. It really is. And from not being in the game, and Jack Ross will be pretty happy. I know it's only 6-7 minutes, but to see his team 1 down, it's just not the start you want, especially in a cup tie against an experienced team who are in a top division and you know, flying in their league as well.
It's good play by Kenny McLean, who told the club he doesn't want to stay beyond this season. He's turned down a new contract offer. Reports that clubs down south were looking at him this month. Norwich City were quoted. Derek McInnes very keen for McLean to remain for this push for the silverware. A couple of the Saints players, Gavin Riley we saw there, Billy, Ian McShane being another one. You've worked with both of them. And Gavin Riley, 20 goals this season. He's the first St Mirren player to do that since Barry Lavetti managed it in '93.
It's no surprise to me that both these players are doing well in the Championship. And you know, Gavin just wants to score goals. He's so quick, he's direct, and he's just happy to score. And he'll run in behind the Aberdeen defence. Not had a chance to do that yet. McShane, technical, good player, gets on the ball. Just needs to stay up in the game more. Said that to him at Ross County. If he does that, he's a really good player.
Jack Ross will be annoyed at the ease with which his team has gone behind. There was a slight worry amongst Saints supporters that Adam Eckersley is on the bench and has been injured recently, perhaps arguably a better defender than Stelios is, and Stelios, good player going forward, perhaps question marks at the back, and he tripped Greg Stewart in the box there. And another question mark as Aberdeen get a free kick. Controversial award according to the Saints players.
It looks as if he got the ball. It's the one thing about the penalty, wasn't it? It's not a great goal scoring chance. There was no need to panic from Stelios to go to ground.
No, it's the two going for it again, Stewart and Stelios. Stelios very much one of these players who can make an error like that, a decisive one at one end, and go up the other end and score at some point. Mackay-Steven opening his box of tricks against Liam Smith, winning the corner. In a wonderful game here recently against Hibs, scored a hat-trick, Mackay-Steven. Adam McInnes desperate to see him produce that kind of form and trickery on a more regular basis.
Yeah, he settled, you said that, but we know he's got that skill as well, and he looks as if he's up for it.
Son's a slight problem for Craig Sampson, Adam Rooney too. In from Stewart. Reynolds free at the back there. Riley can use his strength there against Shinnie. That's good play by Stewart. And again, Rooney is the only man in the middle for him. Goes himself, and Sampson is called into action.
Well, I've spoken about the two wingers for Aberdeen this game. He's direct, gets his man, little step over, that ball's moving all over the place. Sampson has to just get a fingertip on it, you can see it. Decent save.
On the right foot as well, Greg Stewart. Second chance. Christie. Actually pinched off from there by Stephen McGinn. Friends reunited. It was very nice of his old manager to help him out there.
Call it a forwards tackle. And a cuddle. Sorry, I let you go, son.
He really did love Cammy Smith to bits, there's no doubt about it. It was just a frustrating time for him at Aberdeen, the player. Difficult to break through into this Aberdeen team. It's been so successful over the last few seasons under McInnes. Morgan running into Shinnie, that's Smith. And now Morgan gets the break of the ball, shuffles away from Rooney. St Mirren supporters on the edge of their seats here. McGuinness, Lewis saves. Well, that could have fallen more kindly for Stephen McGinn on the 6-yard area. Aberdeen happy to clear.
It's the first time we've seen it in the match. That front four are definitely direct. And then when Morgan finds himself out on this right-hand side, he's at his man, he beats him, he cuts it back. Then it's McGuinness, the other direct player, playing on the right. But he gets a good strike, it's a decent save. Just doesn't fault any St Mirren player after.
And just drifted away from McGinn. Lewis Morgan's done such good work this season on the left-hand side. He was on the right this time.
It's good from Cammy Smith as well, good back heel. And there's only one thing this lad's thinking about, is getting at players direct, with good awareness. McGuinness hits a strike. Just doesn't fault a St Mirren player.
Scuffed Christie effort up the other end. Scottish Cup winner at Cali Thistle. Almost 3 years ago now. He and Graham Shinnie in the foreground there. Both part of that Inverness side. It's the 15th time they've met in the Scottish Cup. These two, Aberdeen have won 6, St Mirren 4 draws. 2011, the last meeting between the two. Rory McCardle scored a very late goal for Aberdeen and Paisley to salvage a replay, which Aberdeen won 2-1. A similar story the previous time they met in the Cup. Stephen McGarry giving Saints the lead in Paisley before stunning Hisham Zero Ali equaliser from a free kick. Aberdeen won the replay that time too. Last 3 times it's gone to a replay between these two in this competition, so Saints will hope to be able to at least force that today. Behind early to that Adam Rooney penalty. Reacted pretty well to going behind though.
I don't think they've been poor in the game. I just think it was such a cheap goal to give away. Having watched it, man, a couple of weeks ago against Inverness, it was the one thing I was worried about. We know about that front four being direct, but Inverness created a lot of chances in that game. But to hand them that, you know, it's wide. There's not going to get a shot out of that. It's an angle to go to ground was just crazy from Stelios.
Adam Rooney's not caring. Harry Davis scored the goal at Celtic Park that had St Mirren dreaming of a sensational cup upset last season in the quarters. Rooney to Shinnie and now Mackay-Steven. Stewart's trying to get there, it might come back here to Christie, and it's 2! And Aberdeen are heading for the 5th round. A dream start for them. Christie doubles up for the Dons and they lead St Mirren 2-0. Long way back now for the Paisley side.
It's perfect for him. He watches on and you'll believe his team are 2-0 up, but in the fashion that it's happened, it's been cheap. You see Gary Mackay-Steven just find himself in behind the rear guard of St Mirren, and then they don't pick up runners either. They can't get out to them. You see Davis here not happy. It's too easy, that's the thing. It's a good pullback from Mackay-Steven and well tucked away from Christie, but really poor defensively from St Mirren.
Well, it's terrific work by Mackay-Steven. Rooney initially. Mackay-Steven pulling it back. Christie finishing. And Aberdeen have 1 foot in the next round. What could have been a potentially tricky tie. Might still be if St Mirren can quickly get back into it, but Gavin Riley runs out of pitch. problems for Jack Ross and James Fowler. The Saints management team who have done such an impressive job over the last 12-13 months or so. In fact, last January, Jack Ross had to go into the stand and speak to an irate St Mirren fan. And since then, it really has turned round. They finished the season so well to get away from the bottom of the table, and the importance of those results in the late winter last year, akin to that of the one that they had at Stirling Albion in the late 90s when Hugh Murray scored a very important goal that prevented Saints from slipping down into the third tier, and that would have been financial disaster for them had that happened. And relegation was not something that they wanted to contemplate last campaign either. Jack Ross coming in, eventually getting there. It took him a while to get the results, but boy, have they kicked on. It's been Aberdeen's day though, so far. And here's the second goal scorer, Christie, doing some defensive work. Steered in. Shenny did well. McShane was not expecting that.
It's great energy from him. He makes a forward run, and backtracking's excellent as well.
Stewart. Well, this is a bit of a lesson for St Mirren in what they might face next season if they are able to gain the promotion. 8 points clear at the top of the championship. They played okay, but they're 2-0 down.
Yeah, and the poor goals they lost has drained the confidence out of them. There's no intensity to the game, and it's looking like an easy day for Aberdeen.
Stewart. Chopped by Stelios. Calmly done there by Liam Smith. Did 35 times for the Hearts first team.
You know, we're talking about the cheapness of the goals, and there's not a lot of movement from Mackay-Steven. And can centre half Baird spot him earlier? It's a great cutback, a great finish, don't get me wrong, but I just think it's all too easy for them. There's not a lot of movement going on there. It's not a quick darting run. He's just drifted in behind, and Baird just lets him wander off him. It's all too easy for Aberdeen.
It was Adam Rooney's 84th goal for Aberdeen. Is it over the 20 mark in each of the last 2 seasons as he gets another effort on the goal. Held on to by Samson.
Really, he's 85th. It's good movement from him. Just helped in the box, and then his movement from he's in there to back out to get that volley away. Decent.
I don't think it's any coincidence that Adam Rooney's goal tally is not quite as impressive this season as it has been recently, given McGinn and Hayes were so integral to his game. McGinn, of course, back at the club. Here comes St Mirren. It's Morgan. Back to Stelios.
Good signs for St Mirren there, just looking at Morgan again and how easily they went past Shea Logan on that right hand side. Got to get the wide men fed. McGuinness and Morgan get it to them. Certainly going to beat the Aberdeen fullbacks. Just not enough possession so far.
St Mirren do have new signing Ryan Flynn on the bench, a player Jack Ross rates very highly. He wouldn't be a surprise to see him enter the fray at some point. Morgan and Riley have grabbed the headlines for St Mirren this season, but Stephen McGinn has been so important in what they have done and what they are continuing to do in the Championship. Smith. And they've done well. And Stelios. And Joe Lewis saves, but that's going to be tucked home by Riley. And St Mirren are right back in the tie. 21 for the season for Gavin Riley. And the arrears are halved.
It's poor defending this time from Aberdeen. Stewart getting caught in the ball. Stelios, little pass, good strike, and he's reacted well. He's behind. It's Mark Reynolds there, but you can see Stewart get rid of, doesn't do it. He's robbed by Stelios. Little lay off, good strike, but the reaction was great. He was a yard behind Mark Reynolds, and we talked about Gavin Riley wanting to score goals. Real sharpness, gets St Mirren back in the game. Huge lift.
They needed the next goal, and they have got it. It's a warning shot across the bows of the Dons, that's for sure. A renewed belief amongst those from Paisley. Today. Rooney. Amsterdam continues his run. Shinnie and Stewart waiting in the middle. Stelios takes no chances. He was involved in the goal there with Stelios. As I said earlier, he can have or make an impression at both ends of the park.
It's a good area, but you see no Rooney in the box, and then Shinnie trying to make. He can only make edge, but it's a great area that Considine put the ball into.
Quite an open game. Greg Stewart's corner. It's poor. McLean has clearly got a problem. He's getting himself back to his feet just out of your picture. This is the problem.
I don't see him going over on his ankle or anything like that. Sometimes when you go up in the air like that in the landing, your ankle can turn, but it looks as if he was holding the back of his hamstring.
He went down
maybe
again there.
Hip area, yeah.
This time he gets the free kick. And Derek McInnes did his best to try and convince McLean to prolong his spell here.
A real shot in the arm for St Mirren, isn't it? Looked dead and buried, not going anywhere quickly. As I said, no pace to the game. Looked dejected, and suddenly that goal just giving them that lifeline. You can see the spring in their step.
It's been pretty even anyway, hasn't it?
It has. Whole goals have been. I know you go into detail about goals, and every manager will do that, losing goals. But they have thrown them to each team, haven't they? Mistakes for the two Aberdeen goals, and certainly a mistake for the St Mirren goal with Stewart giving the ball away.
Well, he will not be happy at the way they conceded the goal, but he will be happy with the fact that they have the lead. Not as comfortable as it was. Aberdeen have won this tournament 7 times in their history, but it's been a long, long wait for the club to pick it up again after that shootout victory over Celtic in 1990. Christie judged to have fouled his man here. McLean, it was in fact, he was doing the initial battling, then Christie went to try to help.
Yeah, when he knocks it.
It's McGinn's free kick. Baird. And now Davis. Morgan battling with O'Connor. I think Kyle McGuinness knew it was coming. And it's the first booking of this tie.
Yeah, it's rash. Don't think Andrew Considine can have any complaints.
No.
Yeah, sore
I
one.
don't think so. Andy Considine recently passed Russell Anderson in the all-time appearance list of Aberdeen players. He's the first booked. Jack also wants his team to test Considine even more and draw another card. And suddenly it's St Mirren hunting down an equaliser 14 minutes from the break. Stephen McGinn. Considine will feel a bit better about himself now. He gets it away, only momentarily though. Stelios. Decisive by Liam Smith and Mackay-Steven's chasing it. Sampson alive to the situation. Last time the Reynolds-O'Connor partnership started a game for Aberdeen was in the League Cup tie at Fir Park. And blown away by a very impressive Motherwell in the night. But here come the Dons with Mackay-Steven. Stelios sends it back into his own box. Logan. Christie! It's 3-1! It's his second of the game. But once again, it's so cheap from St Mirren's point of view. And Aberdeen are eager for a place in round 5, and it gets a little bit closer for them again.
Just littered by defensive mistakes. Brilliant for Christie. Good goal for Aberdeen, makes it more comfortable, but stinker from Stelios again. What is he doing with that header? Put it height, distance, away from the box. He's headed it off his own man. It's a lovely pick out. And you know the midfielders of Aberdeen are going to make those forward runs. It's right in his napper, and he plonks it right into the net. Good finish, but terrible from St Mirren. The 4 goals has been incredible when it comes to poor defensive displays.
Well, Christie did well to hang Eric Black style in the air to give Aberdeen the 2-goal cushion again. Jack Ross will be laser-eyed at Stelios Dimitru down that touchline for the remainder of this first half. Here's another opportunity. It's been lifted over. Joe Lewis. It's just wide into the side net. Lewis Morgan. and it's almost back to 3-2.
With what? Another defensive mistake. Reynolds, left-footed, we know, just kicks it down the way. It's unlucky from Morgan, isn't it? Good awareness, good anticipation, and just inches past that right post.
Saints fans thought it was in. Almost didn't have time to caption the scoreline there before another goal was added. 3-1 Aberdeen. A misunderstanding between Rooney and Mackay-Steven. Shinnie. Some good link-up play from Adam Rooney this afternoon. Scored Aberdeen's first from the spot. It'll be interesting, Billy, to see how Saints react to this, because they were looking dispirited when initially it went to 2-0. Jack Ross will be so frustrated.
He'll be in despair because it's the highs and lows. We'll talk about it in football, but they get that lift, they get back in the game, and you're thinking, right, no crazy goals again, but then Stelios decides to do that header. It's incredible. He's had, apart from the St Mirren goal, but he's also cost his team 2 goals as well. It's been a mixed day for him, we'll call it that.
Don Robertson sees that as a foul. McGinn and Christie. Derek McInnes had hoped to land Ryan Christie on a full-time deal in the summer. Celtic would only deal with a loan. Something that McInnes wants to perhaps revisit from the end of this season. Christie takes, Rooney makes his move. Goal kick only.
He does it all the time from free kicks. Been against it with Ross County, he stands offside, you see it there, and he bends his run out the way, but that time St Mirren defence is dropping, he gets a contact on it. It's good effort, good movement from him today. Looks sharp after his goal.
As a former goal scorer in this neck of the woods, Billy, and who played with another in Duncan Shearer, Dean Windass as well latterly, Adam Rooney's impact's been right up there, hasn't it, for Aberdeen?
Absolutely, and I think obviously with the 2 wide men leaving, been well documented. I think it's starved him of service. He's that type of striker. He's not a striker that goes and creates for himself. He needs width, he needs crosses in the box, and he'll get you goals. Just saw it with that free kick there with the movement.
Just trying to get it back to Mackay-Steven, Liam Smith favourite.
So the boys are going to have a field day at half-time. Rob, Stephen and Willie, especially Willie being the centre-half looking at these defences.
Stephen would love to be going up against these defences.
Absolutely.
If you're just joining us, the match between Fraserburgh and Rangers, which of course was scheduled for tomorrow, midday start, that went off today, a midday pitch inspection. Now, Gavin Riley has won it off O'Connor. Others racing into the middle. Smith was one of them. Reynolds does his job.
It's getting comical, isn't it? It's just error after error, and it's good from Gavin Riley. Good pressure. You can't take this long. O'Connor gets a little nick. He's got pace, could have driven in himself, but unselfish. Tries to pick out his teammate. Good recovery from Reynolds up. bails his fellow centre half out.
Yeah, he really did. It was sloppy stuff from Anthony O'Connor. Saints' first corner of the piece. Shane's effort blocked by Logan. He tried to whip it into the box. Stelios.
I closed my eyes there, Liam. You've got to deal with it quicker. We've talked about O'Connor and he's letting him bounce, he's taking eternity. McLean's on him, nearly nicking it from him. You'd think he's learnt his lesson by now.
Shinnie. Just to Stewart. And Logan. Well, it looked a shoe-in that Shea Logan was going to be able to get a touch and get a cross in there. So Fraserburgh Rangers off, but better news if you were heading to the Alloa Dundee United tie. That passed an inspection earlier today. Livingston, Falkirk, Peterhead, Dumbarton, Albion Rovers. St Johnstone went off earlier today. The previous two went off yesterday. As well as the Formartine Cove Rangers match, the local derby between those two in this neck of the woods. Rooney spectacularly into the path of Shinnie. Mackay-Steven, Saints getting bodies back into the final 5 minutes of the first half. St Mirren can ill afford to concede again. Mackay-Steven pulls it back again into that area. He teed up Graham Shinnie for a goal against Hibs here before the winter break. Christie, it's the ambitious effort. Maybe some way to collect your hat-trick.
Yeah, we know he can strike it. Maybe asking a lot. He's getting the laces through it. He's trying to get it up and down and bit of movement. Not a bad effort.
Real Scottish Cup pedigree in the Christie family, of course. Ryan winning the competition with Cali Thistle. His dad, of course, part of the famous victory over Celtic back in 2000. I'm sure he'll be here watching his boy playing. He normally is. It's Christie's 2 goals right now that have Aberdeen in the box seat. Replace in tomorrow afternoon's draw. 5th round draw will follow the Hearts Hibs derby at Tynecastle. Lead back there by Liam Smith. There's always appeals at every game when someone knees it back to their goalkeeper for a pass back. They're allowed to do that, Bill.
Yeah, read the rules. Yeah, absolutely.
Here comes Shinnie, who's got it to Rooney. Has to lay it back. It's Shinnie, and it's blocked, and St Mirren get out of jail momentarily. 4th Aberdeen goal before half-time would surely settle it.
Yeah, Jack Ross needs to get them in half-time. 3-1 down and just calm them down.
Really good from Mackay-Steven. He gets the break off McShane. And it's Kyle McGuinness back helping his fellow midfielder out in defence.
Yeah, I was saying just get them in and calm them down. They're a little bit ragged just now. So one thing I worried about after watching that Inverness game, and I know it happened the week before at Morton, where Morton created a lot of chances second half, and Inverness certainly should have taken something out of that game and missed a load of chances. And today Aberdeen have capitalised on that. Maybe a little bit of inexperience in that back line. Something Jack Ross will think about moving forward.
Just over a minute left of the first half. It's Considine. Mackay-Steven to Christie. Riley, we've got the Saints goal. That won't come as a surprise. 21 now for the campaign. Morgan was fouled by McLean. It's a yellow card.
No real complaints. I wasn't sure if it was worth a yellow, but you see it there. Just trips him, knows he's in a dangerous position. We know what Morgan's all about.
He joins Andrew Considine in the little black book of Don Robertson. Must have thought it was cynical enough for the yellow card to be distributed.
Didn't look like that full speed, but when you see it again, it's a good decision from Don Robertson. It's been good today.
Stephen McGinn. Saints looking for what would be a crucial goal before the interval. Oh, it's just rising over by Cammy Smith. Joe Lewis relieved to see that go over the bar.
It's a good effort. Once Rooney pops out, it's a lovely touch and hit. Just can't get it down.
And that is the final act of the first half in the first tie of the William Hill Scottish Cup fourth round for 2018. And Aberdeen in a very good position going into the half-time interval. Adam Rooney's penalty giving them the lead before Ryan Christie scored a double either side of Gavin Riley's salvo. Saints have a lot of work to do against their Premiership opponents. Half-time at Pittodrie, it's Aberdeen 3, St Mirren 1.
So what's the difference between second in the Premiership and first in the Championship? Well, at the moment, 2 goals of a difference. Aberdeen appearing to be very much in control of this. Ryan Christie adding to Adam Rooney's early penalty. But it was game on when St Mirren scored. Morgan's shot parried by Joe Lewis. Gavin Riley striking for the 21st time this season. But St Mirren will be disappointed that that 2-goal cushion reopened by Ryan Christie's header. 2 for him, 3 for Aberdeen, 3-1 it is for the Premiership team against the promotion chasing St Mirren. And what will disappoint Jack Ross, Willie, is that Aberdeen haven't had to be too good to be 2 goals in front.
No, absolutely. You know, I thought Aberdeen started really slowly, you know, very sluggish. The tempo wasn't good from them. And in fact, up until the first goal, I thought that St Mirren were the better team. You know, but the goals have been just dreadful. I think the art of defending's had a very, very bad 45 minutes. I think you could point the finger at you know, all the goals and say they could have been avoided and their defensive errors. But yeah, it's been too easy for Aberdeen. The goals have came far too easily, and Jack Ross surely will be fuming at half-time.
St Mirren have got a great support here, Stephen. Disappointing for them the way this has panned out so far, although it's not yet over, because if they score the next goal, it all comes alive again.
Yeah, I don't think there's been an awful lot between the sides in the first half, to be honest with you, but what there has been is some absolutely horrific defending from both sides, but in particular from St Mirren. They might get away with that in the Championship, but not at this level against a side like Aberdeen, and in particular for me, Dimitri at left back has really struggled. He should never dive in the box to give away that first goal, the penalty kick, and then after that his header when he tried to clear it out of the box was poor. He's had a really bad half. I would be thinking about taking him off if I was Jack Ross.
I hate to be stealing a line from Billy Dodds, because you're in a bad way if you have to do that, but Stelios has had a stinker.
It certainly has, yeah. I mean, the penalty when he's went into the tackle, he's actually nowhere near the ball either. I mean, he's no chance of getting a touch on the ball, and he takes Greg Stewart down. And you know, he's not deceived too much, I don't think. But the fact that when you go to ground in the box,
you can't go in, Willie. You can't.
You've got to make sure 100% that you've got a chance of getting the ball. He's nowhere near the ball.
That was the first time Aberdeen had been in St Mirren's half, actually. You know, in the first kind of 5-10 minutes. And to dive in like that, it's just criminal. It really is.
But all he has to do is, is stand up. And, that man, Rooney, he doesn't miss penalties. He's not going to miss that one in an important cup tie.
It was a gift of a goal, wasn't it?
Yeah.
And it just got Aberdeen established.
Yeah, they started to pass the ball about, had a bit more tempo in their game, and St Mirren looked a bit dejected, but I still didn't feel there was an awful lot between the sides. I honestly don't think that Aberdeen have outclassed St Mirren in this half. I don't think they've looked that far ahead of St Mirren. It's just St Mirren's defensively have looked really, really poor.
We picked out Ryan Christie before the game. He has been hugely impressive for Aberdeen. It was he who got the second goal. It was 2-0 up inside 18 minutes. But again, you would ask questions about the quality of the defending. I mean, Christie, for one thing, wasn't tracked into the box at all.
Absolutely, no midfield players tracking him back. You can see the two sitting midfield players for St Mirren actually watching him. They've switched off.
It's too easy for Gary Mackay-Steven as well to get in behind like that, and then when the cutback comes in, nobody's putting pressure on the ball. No midfield runners tracked it.
But he does, he does sniff out these opportunities.
Well,
Ryan Christie, we spoke about it before the game. He gets himself into important positions, and he did on that occasion.
This was the moment the Stephen Thompson fan club came alive again when Gavin Riley scored his 21st goal of the season. Would you point the finger at Joe Lewis here for the save from Morgan?
Well, perhaps. I mean, I think he tries to parry it out to the side, but he doesn't get it far enough away from the goal. I think he's got to palm it more to the side. It's an initial mistake here. They give the ball away, and then when it comes out to Lewis Morgan, it's a decent hit. It's not a fabulous hit. And I think the goalkeeper will probably think he should push this further to the side. It's good reactions from Gavin Riley for his 21st of the season. But I think Joe Lewis will probably look at that and think he could have done better.
Yeah, plus Matt Reynolds as well. I think, a man of his experience. I don't think he's happy with Joe Lewis because Lewis hasn't got it out the way far enough. But certainly Matt Reynolds should be much sharper.
St Mirren have looked a threat at times in the half. When they break forward, they do look as though they could score another goal. So I don't think the tie's dead and buried. I think we'll see more goals in the second half. But St Mirren, they cannot continue to defend the way they did in that first half.
That was 2-1 at that point, and St Mirren would have been pretty happy had they got to half-time with that being the situation and the prospect of a fight back in the second half. But Aberdeen scored again, Ryan Christie scored again, there was a mistake again, and it was Stelios again.
Yeah, it's a horrible mistake as well from the full-back. I don't know what he's thinking. He puts his head on it, comes off one of his
players. He
players.
could have volleyed it. I mean, I don't know why he goes all the way down there to header the ball, and where he headers it's ridiculous. Just put your foot through it, or if you're going to header it, you can't possibly put it there.
He doesn't have to dive either to head it, but Shea Logan's up there, he likes to get forward and he spots Christie again. Great movement
decent run
from
into
the
box
midfield
from
player, and he picks him out.
He does, it's a good pick out, and it's a decent finish from Christie, but a very, very avoidable goal from a St Mirren point of view.
It has been a first half littered with errors. Here's another one, and a couple of moments to make St Mirren optimistic about the second half, because firstly it was Lewis Morgan set up by the Reynolds mistake, and then there was an opportunity for Riley to play in Smith, and had they got another goal back, then it all does come back to life.
Yeah, it would have done. I mean, this is really opportunistic from Lewis, and it's actually very, very close. The St Mirren fans beside us to our left thought it was in, and you can see Joe Lewis not happy at all with the defenders. And yeah, Aberdeen have been slack as well. Aberdeen haven't had their normal tempo. They've been making mistakes as well.
Well, it's a switch off, isn't it, Anthony O'Connor? Again, an experienced player, but put under pressure, and it gives him an opportunity. Riley, I think, should do a little bit better.
He should.
But it's slack again, slack defending. The first half's been riddled with poor defensive play from both sides.
So 2 goals for Christie, 1 for Rooney. Riley on the mark for St Mirren, and it is 3-1 for the Premiership team at half-time here at Pittodrie. We'll have the second half live for you, and of course we have the Scottish Cup competition well covered for you as ever on BBC. It's always a tournament that produces loads of special moments. Remember last season?
The first team from the junior leagues to knock one from the championship out.
Chance for Kenny Miller to win the match for Rangers. He has. It's 3-0. Hibs must have the beating of Hearts now. Adam Rooney gives Aberdeen the lead with just 12 seconds on the clock. It's Tom Rogic. Celtic order the treble, and it is about to be duly delivered.
Here's how it all maps out for the rest of the weekend. Sports Scene results, the online extra from 2:40 and BBC One Scotland from 4:30. All the results and the final scores as they come in. All the highlights tonight of the first part of this Scottish Cup weekend. 10:30 tonight, BBC One Scotland. We will have live coverage on BBC Radio Scotland tomorrow afternoon of the sole survivor now on Sunday in the Scottish Cup. That's the Edinburgh Derby. What a match that promises to be. Fraserburgh against Rangers, of course, if you didn't hear earlier, has been called off. Maybe something inevitable about that. Quite a few games have fallen victim to the weather. And we'll have highlights of the Edinburgh Derby tomorrow night, 6 o'clock, BBC 2 Scotland. Stephen will be part of that show. It will be repeated later on BBC One as well, and you'll see highlights of all today's action in the Scottish Cup as well. One of the 3 o'clock kickoffs today is Celtic against Brechin. It's top of the Premiership against bottom of the Championship, and Brechin haven't won a league game all season long. At Celtic Park, Paddy Bonner alongside Al Lamont.
Well, something of a mismatch on paper if you look at the two sides' form, but Pat Bonner joining me. You know, there's always a potential for a shock, but you actually played the last time the sides met back in 1985, I think it was, 7-0 on that occasion. Looking at the disparity in quality between the sides, could you foresee something similar happening today?
Yes, of course that can happen against Celtic here at Celtic Park, and you know, but what a fantastic day for Brechin, for the manager, for the players, directors, the fans all coming here to play against the champions and the cup holders, of course, and you know, it's a big day for them. But as you rightly say, there's always a shock to be had. I remember back in 1987, centenary year, we won the double, but we played Stranraer here and they gave us a big fright. They missed a penalty, or could I say vainly, I saved a penalty. They hit the crossbar, and the last minute Bruce Cleland hit one over the crossbar from a brilliant opportunity, and he immigrated to USA the following week. So shocks can happen, but I don't see it against here today, and I think Celtic are very much hot favourites.
Absolutely, and I suppose hot favourites to go on and retain the Scottish Cup, as I say, for the first time since 2005. We watched the final together, commentated on that last season as Tom Rogic won it in such dramatic fashion, and you'd have to say, you know, they must be favourites to go on and do so again. Well, they've had their break now, haven't they? The excuses of being tired is over. They will have the treble in their sights again. You know, they have the League Cup final won. They have their top of the league, and now the Scottish Cup, and they will be going out totally motivated. Doesn't matter what team he possesses, what injuries he's had. They have the better squad, they've got the better players, and I think it'll be a big hard day for Brechin here today. Briefly, would you see Brendan Rodgers bringing in a couple of young players? He might do. He has his opportunity to do that today, but I think he wants to get the players out there and playing today, get momentum going, get them, and he'll put out a fairly strong team today. Okay, Pat Bonner will be part of the Open All Mics team on BBC Radio Scotland Sports Sound, where you can catch all today's Scottish Cup action.
Yeah, radio coverage this afternoon, and then you'll see highlights of that game tonight. Is that going to be a goal counting exercise, Willie?
What, the second half?
No, the Celtic.
Pay attention, Willie. The Celtic game we've just been watching.
You're not listening to Paddy Bonner there.
I wasn't.
Understandable, mind you.
I apologise.
He's got frostbite.
You would think so, wouldn't you? Yeah, I mean, I think Celtic, the way they're playing, the quality that they've got, they should be scoring plenty of goals. It should be a bit of a canter for them.
Celtic hoping, of course, that that's the first step towards another treble. Yeah, you wouldn't bet against them doing it, a double treble. I think today will be a formality for them. Brechin really struggling in the Championship. It'll be a day out for them, something to remember for the players, but I'm expecting a big win for Celtic. This was a painful moment, Willie, for you, wasn't it?
No, it was.
Back in May.
Yeah, it was. You know, but I thought Aberdeen did really well on the day. You know, put a lot into the game, but Celtic class at the end. You know, just to took the cup to the east end of Glasgow, unfortunately, for Aberdeen supporters. I think what made Derek McInnes happy on that occasion, never happy when you're losing, but they made Celtic work for it at that time, which they didn't do in the League Cup final. No, the League Cup final was very disappointing. Really, Aberdeen didn't turn up. But you couldn't say that in the Scottish Cup final. I thought it was a really good game of football, played by both sides. I thought Celtic deserved to win, but Aberdeen run them really close. Let's focus back, Stephen, on the second half here at Pittodrie. 3-1 Aberdeen against your beloved St Mirren. Do you see a way back?
Yeah, I think there's a possibility. St Mirren created opportunities in that first half. I think there's going to be goals again in this second half, but I don't think St Mirren can concede again. They need to be defensively far better than they were in the first half, but I do think they carry a threat in forward areas. We wondered whether Aberdeen would stamp their authority on this right from the start. In a sense, they haven't had to because they've been given it on a plate.
I don't think they have, Rob. I don't think they've played particularly well. No. I don't think has been a game where they've really outshone the opposition. I agree with Stephen wholeheartedly. I think that St Mirren have got a threat going forward, but I think we've also got to recognise that defensively St Mirren have been poor, and that's why I still think that Aberdeen are going to win it comfortably without playing particularly well.
It was game on when it was 2-1. Could it be game on again if St Mirren do get the first goal of the second half?
Yeah, absolutely. The next goal has to come from St Mirren or else the tie's over, and I think Jack Ross will be reiterating that to the players in the changing room. The tie's still alive, but only just for St Mirren. You know, and Willie's right. I don't think Aberdeen have been anywhere near their best. They looked a wee bit slack in that first half, not at their usual tempo, and it was a fairly even half, evenly contested out with the mistakes. And St Mirren should be trying to pick the positives and the fact that they've created opportunities in that first half and focus on that.
Yeah, they have been sparkling at times going forward, St Mirren, and what's really disappointing for Jack Ross is that they've been so suspect at the back.
Yeah, I think going forward, you know, and Jack spoke about that before the game as well, that their front four have been excellent for them recently, and they do carry a threat. You know, they've got a lot of ability, they link up well, you know, and even towards the end of the game there, Cammy Smith, who I know well from coming through a development programme at Aberdeen, he pings one just over the bar. They're a definite threat. I don't think that Derek McInnes will be saying anything other than at half time that Aberdeen have got to tighten up defensively and be much more secure.
We're just about to head back for the second half action between Aberdeen and St Mirren with Liam McLeod and Billy Dodds as we refresh ourselves on the 4 goals so far.
Aberdeen in front to Christie, and it's two. And Joe Lewis saves, but that's going to be tucked home by Riley. And St Mirren are right back in the tie. Logan, Christie, it's 3-1. Well, Jack Ross will have had plenty to say, particularly to his defenders at the break, as he and James Fowler make their way back to the Saints technical area. Doesn't look as though any personnel changes are forthcoming. Gavin Riley gave them so much hope when he brought it back to 2-1. Desperate to get back into the top flight are St Mirren after a few years away, and they look a good bet to do so. 8 points clear, albeit having played a game more than Dundee United, as Aberdeen make their way back onto their home turf in a very comfortable position right now. Well, the last time a Scottish Cup tie between these two was won at the first time of asking was St Mirren's last win over the Dons in this competition. That was in the final. 3-1 victory for Saints. Bryceland, Miller and Baker scoring 3 very famous goals in the Paisley club's history, sealing the second of their 3 Scottish Cup victories. Derek McInnes took his players to Dubai for their winter training camp, second time they've done it, having done so last year. And if you believe what the players tell you, it made a big difference. I suppose a bit of sunshine at this time of year does. Plenty of sunshine in the Granite City as the second half gets underway. And Aberdeen will shoot towards the beach in this second half. Saints shoot towards the paddock end, the Merklin Road end. No changes for either. There's Stephen McGinn. They need to start positively to the championship leaders.
No changes, but sure plenty of words from both managers just to tighten up that little bit at the back. I knew the boys would have a field day at half time, quite right, to pick the bones out. It wasn't just defensively as well. When you look back at the goals, it's midfield runners. Goalkeeper could have done better on a couple of occasions as well. So plenty to ponder for both managers.
Yeah, I mean, Saints are playing their kind of regular centre-backs today, and Baird and Davis. Aberdeen have had to rearrange their defence. Gary Arneson and Scott McKenna both out because of injury and suspension respectively. There's Mackay-Steven, that was clever. What a finish that Mackay-Steven. And that is fit to win any match. And it might be fit to take Aberdeen into the 5th round. It surely will be now. What a goal!
Wow, that's all you can say. He was too quick. For Liam Smith at right back, he nicked in there, but still get plenty to do at that angle. And he just fires it, and it's as sweet as a nut. You see, just little nick there in before Smith. My word, 17 yards right in the top bin. You just don't beat that. Magnificent from Gary Mackay-Steven.
That is what he can do. Derek McInnes has been waiting for Mackay-Steven to explode into the red shirt that he now wears, and he is beginning to fulfil that promise after his arrival from Celtic in the summer. A wonderful goal. And as Billy was saying, there have been defensive problems littered throughout this tie, but that was a bit of magistry from Gary Mackay-Steven. A skill to set up the chance for himself and then to smash it into the top right. St Mirren were already a fair way back in this match. But they might already be beginning to think about Dunfermline on Friday night, which you have to say, in the grand scheme of things, as St Mirren as a football club is a bigger game. They crave promotion, they crave top flight and all that it provides. They will not, though, want to be embarrassed here at Pittodrie this afternoon.
Yeah, professionalism, I think exactly that. Yeah, the tie's gone. Looks like it's just a case of now concentrating and trying to get his team in the Premier League, but you don't want a thrashing here, it can ruin confidence.
Aberdeen's next league match is a couple of days before Saints are next in action, and that is at Ibrox against Rangers on Wednesday evening. A huge game in the battle for second spot, assuming Celtic continue their march at the top of the table. Kenny McLean, now Christie. Only Rooney ahead of him. Shinnie is bounding forward too. Ryan Christie on a hat-trick, remember. Mackay-Steven hadn't given that up. Came off him last though, it's a goal kick.
It's a great pass from Christie. You see Christie pick up here. That's a lovely little ball. Great vision. I think it's Smith that does well at that back area. Gets that tackle in. Mackay-Steven coming in. This is just exceptional, isn't it? I mean, how sharp he is. He's been at it all day, but to unleash that shot from that angle, right in at that postage stamp, is just simply incredible.
We've got a goal of the tournament contender already.
Done.
4th round.
Over. Finished.
It'll certainly take some stopping, won't it? A glorious goal. And Gary Mackay-Steven playing with a smile on his face, and we haven't seen that for a while. Until the last month or so. A hat-trick against Hibs here. He's renewed his confidence. He's up to 6 for the season now. This is Christie. Stuart Logan wants it. He's not getting it though. And a great ball in by Greg Stewart, whose left foot is capable of much better than that. Oh, Considine was booked in the first half. Well, we'll have another look at this just now and see if this warranted a second yellow. A challenge on his former teammate Smith.
Oof. I think when you're booked, you just stay on your feet. When you go into that type of tackle and don't get the ball, and the ball carries on, he's lucky.
Well, do you know, it's what Willie Miller always says. You're giving the referee a chance to make a decision. And Don Robertson has chosen not to book Considine there.
It's in a nothing area as well, centre of the pitch, not going anywhere.
Well, he's not going to get another one of those, Billy. So does Derek McInnes look at that position and say, yeah, OK, we're 4-1 up, and even if you have a red card, you're likely still going to go on to win the tie, but...
Yeah, the scoreline suggests that he maybe think about it, but I think maybe a word in his ear. He's over that side, right in front of the dugout. Look, just stay on your feet now, get through this game, use your experience. He did that in that occasion.
We've got young Daniel Harvey, who's a left back on the bench today. Obviously Graham Shinnie can play there too. Graham Shinney won the Scottish Cup, captained Inverness Cali Thistle to the Scottish Cup at right back in that final against Falkirk.
Just pressure there. It's his attitude, endeavour. 4-1 up, still going at it, pressure, just driving his teammates forward.
Rarely has a bad game, does he? It's regularly 7s and 8s.
Yep. Mr. Consistency, yeah.
Still no Scotland cap though for Graham Shinney. He'll be hoping to rectify that soon enough. Draw for the Nations League taking place on Wednesday. Scotland's next competitive action. Mackay-Steven, oh, he looked on from here, but Willie Conker's got his flag up.
Close one. Yeah, good decision. Maybe just half a yard.
O'Connor gets it back to Lewis. Derek McInnes will be hoping to ensure his team don't give St Mirren any kind of encouragement. McLean to Stewart. Logan trying to help him out. Stewart spins Morgan. Isn't the worst ball in the world, and you can see Adam Rooney acknowledging that. I think it's going to be a debut for Ryan Flynn shortly for St Mirren. Midfielder, formerly of Falkirk, Sheffield United. Mackay-Steven, he's done so well there, really good play. Rooney trying to pounce.
Yeah, Stewart and Christie just at the edge of the box might have been the better option just to pull it back, but again, showing he's at it, confident, great goal. Just so positive, and you see them just edge of the box here, maybe a pull back. Good play from Mackay-Steven again though.
He's very much a confidence player, Mackay-Steven. When he has people who believe in him around him, and when he's in form, scoring goals, you can see the difference in his game. It's taken him a while to get going at Pittodrie. Aberdeen looking like they will be the first name in tomorrow's draw. The fifth round of the Scottish Cup, the Edinburgh Derby taking place just before it. The draw will be made at Tynecastle Park. Hearts and Hibs take part in their now annual Scottish Cup battle. And here comes the substitution. Ian McShane's numbers up. He's going to be replaced by Ryan Flynn. Ian McShane, he scored 3 goals for Ross County under Jim McIntyre and Billy. 2 of them came against Aberdeen. Ryan Flynn comes on to make his debut. Jack Ross has been planning to bring him to the club for a while now. Mackay-Steven. It's too high for Rooney, didn't reach Stewart. First touch of the ball there for Ryan Flynn, who played with Stephen McGinn, is now captain at St Mirren at Sheffield United. So the likes of Jamie Murphy, Connor Salmon, Michael Higdon, former St Mirren striker, at Sheffield United together at one point. Rooney's putting the pressure on here, and he's done enough. It's Adam Rooney. Well, they get away with it to St Mirren there. Really good, strong play by Adam Rooney. And the St Mirren defenders perhaps haven't come up against a striker like Adam Rooney in the Championship this season. Certainly not one who has that ability.
It's a hard one for him. The ball's bouncing, but I'm thinking just deal with it in any way you can and make sure you do it quickly. He's let it bounce, and Rooney's strong, gets here. But Harry Davis gets a really good challenge, good timing. Could have been another penalty. But again, you're thinking defensively.
And someone did manage to get their head on that, and so did another, and another. You might never see that shot, but that was very impressive head tennis for the Aberdeen fans in the South Stand as you watch the replay of Davis challenging Rooney. You saw it, Billy, that was quite something.
3 headers, keeping themselves warm down there. It's okay when you've got your bonnet on, isn't it?
It's a glorious day in the Granite City. The granite buildings will be sparkling in the winter sunshine here in the Silver City, and Aberdeen are enjoying this 4th round tie, 4-1 up. There's Flynn, Shinnie to McLean, and Rooney's on his bike on the right. On the left's Mackay-Steven, and he gets to him. There's good backtracking there by Liam Smith. Oh, great play again by Shinnie. That's what he's all about. Stewart. Aberdeen played so well in last season's final against Celtic for playing about 70 minutes. Did appear to run out of gas, but they put it up to Celtic that afternoon. Tom Rogic's late goal, sickener for them, particularly when I think you would imagine Johnny Hayes and Kenny McLean would look back at the chance that they had just before the hour mark in that final. They would have restored the lead, and the fact that when they did lead the final, they conceded an equaliser so soon after grabbing that opener through the now Celtic man Hayes. And Johnny Hayes made the move to Celtic Park, sadly out with an injury just now, and everyone wishing him all the best in his road to recovery. But Aberdeen were able to bring Niall McGinn back to the club. Derek McInnes telling us beforehand that we should expect to see him at some point.
Nice game to come on to, get some minutes into him. Maybe get 25 or so.
Particularly with the game at Ibrox coming up on Wednesday as well.
Just such an important player for them. It's a great signing getting him back. Other clubs interested, but as I said, 4-1 up, coasting along. For a substitute, these are great games to come in and just enjoy your 20-25 minutes or so and get a bit of fitness, settle back in.
There's Shinnie. Losing out momentarily there to McGuinness. Beyond the hour mark, Aberdeen 4, St Mirren 1, the 4th round continuing this afternoon. BBC Radio Scotland Sports Sound open, all mics. Will be a good listen, always is in the 4th round, albeit slightly decimated card Fraserburgh Rangers went off earlier today. Frozen pitch an hour or so up the road from here. And we'll get Sports Scene Online today from 2:40 on early today to bring you all the goals as they go in across the fourth round. St Johnstone won't be in action today either. Their match with Albion Rovers in Coatbridge, that went off too, along with those that were postponed yesterday at for Martin Cove game, Livingston, Falkirk, Peterhead, Dumbarton. And the United's game at Alloa goes ahead after a morning pitch inspection was passed. And as I said earlier, Hearts Hibs now the sole tie tomorrow, and that too live on BBC Radio Scotland with Sports Sound. Hibs unbeaten, I think now is at 9 Edinburgh derbies. But of course Hearts haven't conceded a goal in such a long time now. Club record 6 clean sheets in a row, albeit Ollie Shaw perhaps in particular will be irked by that. Plenty to come across the rest of the fourth round, including the draw tomorrow for the fifth round. And Aberdeen right now are cruising towards that. They scored 4 in the fourth round last season against Stranraer here. Repeated the trick today against the championship leaders.
It's interesting to see where Ryan Flynn, when he come on, played. And he's gone out on that right-hand side, and it's McGuinness that's come into the central area.
Still enjoying their day, and rightly so. It's been a fabulous season for St Mirren, and losing a Scottish Cup tie at Pittodrie is not going to change that fact unless they do not go up.
Yeah, it might be a blessing. They'll get bigger fish to fry, and I know Jack Ross won't want to hear that today. He wants a competent performance, but you know, less games, concentrate, 8-point lead, although Dundee United have got a game in hand. Just might be the factor in getting them up, even though it's so disappointing for them today. But it'll be good to judge where his team are at, maybe for next season, who knows.
Enter by Mark Reynolds there. A regular substitution for St Mirren's been Danny Mullen coming on for Gavin Riley this season, and it looks as though that's about to happen again. Niall McGinn might be coming on for Aberdeen for a debut the second time around in just a moment. Mackay-Steven. Stelios. Well, when he puts together his showreel of career highlights, Stelios Dimitriou, he will not be featuring much from this game.
I feel for the lad. You can see he's nervous. He is good going forward. He's chipped in with a couple of goals as well.
A real cult hero at St Mirren.
Yeah, but you can see he's nervous. When he's trying to deal with that, he's trying to clear it, ends up just knocking it. He probably gets away with it here.
Saints changes first. It's Mullen for Riley, as normally happens. 21 goals now for the season. He's at least managed to add to his tally. On comes Danny Mullen, formerly of Livingston.
Yeah, it was a good goal from Gavin Riley. We spoke about the start of the game and how he just loves to score goals. His movement was great. It wasn't great from Reynolds. He was 2 yards behind him, but typical striker's goal. Sharp in there, pops in the net.
Rooney. Work it back to Mackay-Steven. Right on cue. Niall McGinn about to enter in a second debut for Aberdeen. 5 terrific years here before he went to South Korea. It didn't quite work out for him at Gwangju. He hasn't played a competitive game since the autumn. And Northern Ireland International comes on. He gets a wonderful reception, and rightly so. Really good servant for Aberdeen. Wanted to try something different. And he's back, and he signed a 3.5-year deal. He's in it for the long haul.
Yeah, not surprising. Absolute stalwart for Aberdeen. And plenty of years left ahead of him, real quality as well. And great to see him back, and Gary Mackay-Steven getting a great reception as well, rightly so, after that finish. It's absolutely wonderful.
Well, regular listeners to Sports Sound and BBC Radio Scotland will know that Willie Miller had to tear down his Johnny Hayes and Niall McGinn posters in the summer. He's managed to put the McGinn one back up now, I'm happy to report. Still a quarter of this tie to go. I think St Mirren, if they could, they would jump on the bus and get back down the road. Mackay-Steven, who scored that wonderful goal to make it 4-1. It really was, and that one will be getting replayed plenty for the rest of this season and beyond, I would think. Just under 10,000 inside Pittodrie, the attendance has been given. It's about 600 just about St Mirren fans who've made the journey up the road. And fair play to them, because the Central Belt has been hit by a deluge of snow. And hopefully everyone gets home safe as well today. Different weather conditions up here in the northeast. Very cold though, which is why the games at Peterhead and Fraserburgh are off. St Mirren get a corner. Stewart away. Hasn't played much, Niall McGinn. He went to South Korea, as I say, but he made, I think it was 8 appearances there. He's played a couple of matches for Northern Ireland as well in that period, against San Marino and Azerbaijan.
That's why you've got to be careful with him, introducing him back into the team. I said 25 minutes today, maybe a bit of the game during the week, but you don't want to bust him, giving him too much. Just introduce him back in. You see they've got plenty to spare when you've got Mackay-Steven playing the way he is as well. Stewart settling into the club. Suddenly it's looking good. There were a few Aberdeen fans thought they'd lost their width, and that's why Rooney wasn't scoring. We talked about it. It's all coming good now though.
Rooney opened the scoring from the spot. 2 from Christie, 1 from Mackay-Steven, which was special. That is his tie so far. Here comes Cammy Smith though for Saints. There's a chance here, perhaps. No, Logan gets in the way. They created plenty in the first half, St Mirren, that's for sure, but chances have been harder to come by in the second period. And again, it's this time shanking that one wide.
Good play from Cammy Smith though against his old team. Drive and forceful run. Good layoff, and then Logan got within a couple of yards, well, a yard of him, and put him off, getting a pure striking goal.
He's have a winner's medal from his time at Aberdeen. Cammy Smith came on early for the injured Johnny Hayes in that final against Cali Thistle at Celtic Park. Craig Sampson, part of the same side that won the League Cup, that won here on the way to that League Cup success. Saved one of the penalties in the shootout. Perhaps the decisive kick, the one that knocked Aberdeen out. Stephen Thompson in the studio this afternoon, part of that Saints side that triumphed here. It hasn't really looked likely today. They began the game pretty well, and the first half was relatively even. They found themselves 3-1 down at the break. Stelios and McLean there. Christie to Stewart. Two tough games for Aberdeen coming up in their next league matches. Rangers at Ibrox on Wednesday, and then in-form Kilmarnock come here next Saturday. Logan looking for Considine. Oh, here's McGinn. Oh, he's put it past.
Well, he started it and nearly finished it, and the fans were cheering his first touch. He comes to the edge of the box, he lays it off, there it is, and then spins in the box. Once it's knocked in on that diagonal, Considine wins at the back post, and you've seen him score those types of goals. And he's just not caught it properly. Just comes off the outside of the shin, but still nearly scrapes in.
And that really would have been a dream return. There goes Rooney against Davis. A 4-1 scoreline that took Saints out of this tournament last season. Davis got the Saints goal at Celtic Park, and they threatened the most sensational of upsets. Oh, Anthony O'Connor's not even watching. Not even watching the movie. Here's McGinn. And it comes. There were two of the best assist makers in the league, Niall McGinn and Johnny Hayes, in their time at Aberdeen, and you can see the quality in the cross there, and Considine was trying to get on the end of it.
Yeah, you know it's a quality ball that's coming in. And Bairden, Dave, I think it's Smith, just do enough to get it away.
5-1 in the corner count, and Aberdeen looking to make it 5-1 on the scoreline here. Short this time. Christie. By Davis. Saints emerge with it. Much to cheer in the second half. Lewis Morgan has barely seen the ball in the second 45. Opportunity perhaps here for St Mirren to get one back. And the cross was a letdown from Mullen.
Yeah, they look a tired team, beaten team. I'm just watching them there with McGinn's cross and then trying to get out to the corner, and it was 2v1. I think they just want the day over. They've had their day out, concentrate on other things now. You
can't underestimate the job that Jack Ross has done at the club. We were talking about it during the first half. And like Derek McInnes, he made a very good impression at Aberdeen since he took the reins. And at Saints, they were marooned at the bottom of the championship in early December 2016. 9 points adrift of the playoff and 10 points adrift of safety. Picked up just 4 points from their opening 14 matches. To put it into context, this season they're at the different end of the league and they're 35 points better off after the same number of league matches.
It's been great for Jack, he's a lovely guy as well. Remarkable job saving them and then getting them to the top now and try to get them back in the Premiership, but it's a step up, there's a level, and he's learnt that today, so
this might not be a bad thing in the grand scheme of things.
He'll analyse it, go away, and maybe he'll know what positions and what type of players he needs to bring to, if they do go up to compete in the Premier League.
Trip to East End Park to come. That won't be a walk in the park, that's for sure. Dunfermline having a fine season themselves. Cars host Morton later on in the 3 o'clock kickoffs in the 4th round. Reminder, you'll be able to watch special sports scene programme this afternoon from 2:40. bbc.co.uk/Sports Scotland is the web address you need for that if you don't have it already. And St Mirren prepared to hand another debut to another player, and it's Mark Hill, who's on loan from Celtic, who's going to replace Cammy Smith, who gets a warm reception from the Aberdeen supporters. He's from the area. In his debut as a 16-year-old under Craig Brown, who compared him to Dennis Bergkamp, and if a man in Scottish football knows his stuff, it's Craig Brown. Cammy Smith has had to go down a division to prove himself again, and he's replaced by Hill. Saints will be eager to see what he can do for the remainder of the campaign. well read by Logan. Stewart. Two options there, Shinnie left, Logan right. In the end, uses neither, goes to Christie. From again, into the sunshine. And trickery, and didn't the end product that time.
Yeah, 3 in there as well. Logan, Stewart, Rooney. I expected one of them to get across that front post area.
Kenny McLean is in trouble. Ryan Flynn is providing that trouble. And McLean retrieves the situation. Kenny McLean, former St Mirren player, heading for the Pittodrie exit door in the summer. Billy, where do you expect him to end up? What do you think?
It's a tough one for him with Rangers being in for him, but then Norwich City pop into the mix, and it's whether he fancies a stint in England.
If there's a hard cash offer comes in for Kenny McLean of the value that's being reported, which is around about 400,000 to 500,000, if you're in charge of Aberdeen, do you take that money, given he's only got a few months left in his contract, or do you keep him in the hope that he can finish the season stronger with him in it?
He's certainly going to weaken your team. It's a hard one for Derek McInnes. Can you find somebody to fill that central spot in midfield? If not, keep him, because you could win a trophy. You could get yourself a lot of money through that. So it is a difficult one, but Kenny McLean might be pushing it as well, saying, look, I want to try my luck in England. So he's a top player, isn't he? Technical. And I never saw him as a sitting central midfielder. I always thought he was getting forward and scores some wonderful long-range goals, but he's found his niche in there now with Shinnie getting about the pitch, tackles, and brought a lot more to his game.
And on for Aberdeen will come the man who destroyed their chances of a cup double in 2014, Stevie May. Scored both goals for St Johnstone as they came from an Niall McGinn goal behind to knock Aberdeen out in the semis. The game was played at Ibrox. May went on to lift the trophy by helping his side beat Dundee United at Parkhead.
That was Liam did it, and Aberdeen 1-0 up, missed a host and a load of chances, and were just about to make the sub to shut up shop, and he scored, and then they were like, right, where do we go from here? And then he scored again, and suddenly they were out the cup.
Christie winning it back there. He's on a hat-trick, remember, and this would be a really good way to do it. And then May and Rooney getting each other's road. It's Stevie May and Rooney. Wait, what is going on there? Flag is up, and Aberdeen should be 5-1 up. It stays at 4.
Brilliant from Christie. Tried for his hat-trick, tried a little lift over the goalkeeper, but then for me it's got to be Rooney. He's incoming, he's coming into the ball, and May's running away. You can see, lovely drag, clip, just let him put it in the net and gets in his way, Stevie May. Shot, clearly offside.
You got all the headlines, Stevie May, that day, but remember the performances of Stevie McLean and Michael O'Halloran that day for St Johnstone. They were excellent. May got the goals though. McLean managed to grab a bit of the action himself, to be fair, in the final. Saints second. Their match off today, St Johnstone. Scheduled to go to Clifton Hill to take on Albion Rovers. Now McGinn. Again, he's trying to stick to him. He's got Logan in support. You can only praise the St Mirren Academy and what they've done, the players they've produced. Kenny McLean at Aberdeen, just now John McGinn at Hibs. Both Scotland internationals now, of course. The job that Alan McManus and the guys at the St Mirren Academy, that you can see another couple of examples in the team today, and McGuinness and Morgan, well documented, the Lewis Morgan one. There have been others as well. It's been a terrific job, and they continue to churn out these players. And of course Stevie Mallon, another. He made such a good impression over the last few seasons, now down the road at Barnsley. He's beginning to get himself into the first team there.
Fabulous setup, and only entices players to go there and want to go there. And Stephen Thompson talking about his son being there as well. So
he's a player, by the way.
Better than his dad then, eh?
Harsh. Here's Christie. He's got the free kick. The one thing in Aberdeen's favour as well in this tournament, Billy, is they've got plenty of players in that squad who have won, not just any trophy, but have won this trophy. In May and Christie and Shinnie, guys who have got experience of it.
You can't beat it when it comes to big pressure games and seeing away sides like St Mirren and getting yourself up against your Celtics and running them close last year. You need your balance of good energy, good legs, but also that experience you're talking about. So vital in the modern day game.
Shinnie back to McLean. Christie behind Rooney. May can't make it stick. Well, since winning the Scottish Cup with St Johnstone, Stevie May has had horrendous injury problems to deal with. It's why he's found himself back in Scottish football. Signed a 4-year deal with Aberdeen. He's down at Sheffield Wednesday and then Preston. Problems with his knee. It's Daniel Harvey you saw there, the Aberdeen youngster about to come on against Rangers here recently. Here's Christie. That's a very good ball to him. Ryan Christie at pace, looking for Rooney. Aberdeen just can't get this 5th goal. Again, looking for May. It's a corner.
Yeah, May wants it early though, and he wants a pullback. You can see he's having a little moan up, Christie, but it's brilliant play from Christie again. Drops shoulder, spins into that channel. Just can't pick out the final cross.
It's Mark Reynolds who is going to be replaced by Daniel Harvey.
I think Considine will just pop himself into centre half and Harvey going to left back. 2 days work from Reynolds.
Scotland under-19 international. He was on loan at Dumbarton last season. Immediately goes into the box, amongst others, ahead of this corner, which is going to be taken by Anthony O'Connor. McLean, there's McGinn. Niall McGinn happy to set the corner on the other side. Aberdeen just 5 minutes plus stoppage time away from confirming their place in the 5th round. McGinn's corner. Harvey went for it. Well, he got there first. Davis cleared, he was fouled as well.
You can see what Niall McGinn's going to bring. Everything he's done in the game so far has been sheer quality. No, he's, apart from obviously his hitch kick that scraped past the post, but unlucky not to score with that was his second touch. Some of the crosses he's put in. That's why Rooney will benefit off of that.
It's obviously a lot of headlines. Hearts have pulled off what looks like a real coup in signing Stephen Naismith, bringing him to the club. Jamie Murphy going to Rangers, Russell Martin there as well, amongst others. But you would think that Niall McGinn's arrival at Aberdeen will be right up there as far as the best business of the window is concerned. And there he is, blocked that time.
Can't agree with him more, because what he does is he doesn't just beat players, he just shifts the ball sometimes half a yard, and it's great for a striker. You just know when to make your runs, or he'll beat a player and you know as well he gets to the byline and he'll pick you out. It's murder when you're in there as a striker and the winger's turning and checking and you're trying to mix your runs up, but he just makes your mind up as a striker.
May. Here's Kenny McLean. In a pretty comfortable second half for Aberdeen, but that was by virtue of Gary Mackay-Steven's wondrous goal in the opening couple of minutes of the second half. McGinn's free kick. Oh, Rooney gambled, Samson gets there, but it's being fouled by Adam Rooney. Stephen McGinn. How far can Aberdeen go in the tournament this year? I mean, I know it's all down to the draw, isn't it? At the end of the day, it's difficult to predict that, but if they get a relatively decent draw, home ties, that sort of thing, how far do you think they can go back to the final?
I think they've proved that last year, where they run Celtics are close in the final, so unlucky. They've certainly got the squad to do it, and getting Niall McGinn back, we've just been talking about it, but as you say, the draw can be unkind and they could maybe draw a Celtic away or something like that, puts them out, but if they get the right draw, they are capable of going all the way to the final, absolutely no doubt about that.
Ryan Christie's been named the sponsors, match sponsors, man of the match. Billy Dodds, any thoughts on your man of the match? Do you go along with that, or do you disagree?
Ryan Christie's played well, absolutely, and
2 goals.
Shinnie leading by example, Rooney getting back into the goals, but the top performer for me, and he was at it right from the start, and he gave Liam Smith a torrid time today, was Gary Mackay-Steven, and then he rounds it off with that wonder goal. He struggled since he's come here a little bit. Gary Mackay-Steven now showing consistency. I thought he was exceptional today, so he was my man of the match.
Gary Mackay-Steven, the William Hill Scottish Cup man of the match for this opening 4th round tie. Loads to come over the weekend. 3 o'clock kickoffs. Less than an hour away. Here comes St Mirren, looking to at least pull one back. Offside flags going up against May. St Mirren allowed to play on. Final minute of the 90. This is Stelios. That's good play. He is capable of the spectacular Stelios Dimitriou. His initial bit of skill was decent. I think that sums up his afternoon in microcosm.
It's not been his day, but he's still showing confidence and getting forward. Just needs to get his foot round that and shape it into the top corner, but gets it all wrong and the shape goes the other way.
Well, not a great afternoon for Stelios, but a wonderful afternoon for Mackay-Steven. Derek McInnes will be hoping there's no problematic injuries to a couple of the players who've come off. Mackay-Steven's okay. Christie, I think, was getting a bit of attention on the bench there. Aberdeen with that game to come at Rangers on Wednesday as we go into the only minute of injury time that Don Robertson, the referee, has added on. The second half's been a pretty professional performance by Aberdeen, but when it was just the 2 goals behind St Mirren, knew they were still potentially in the tie. But as soon as Mackay-Steven rattles that in the opening couple of minutes of the second half, it's done and dusted.
Yeah, it killed the game, and the one thing they did, Aberdeen, was not letting them get any sniffs to build confidence. And you're right, just see out the game and don't give St Mirren any lifts, and that's what they've done, plus add to their goal tally.
It's important for Jack Ross and for these St Mirren players, Billy, as we go into the final few seconds, that they keep their heads up, because it's been a terrific season for them. They came up against Partick Thistle in the League Cup, were hammered 5-0, but they responded perfectly, and they'll need to do that again.
Yeah, it shows they've got bounce back, and they'll be reiterating that to them, but as I said, a bigger fish to fry for St Mirren, and it might be a blessing in disguise and let them go on and win that championship.
But it is Aberdeen who go through to the 5th round, very much their day. Ryan Christie can see he's limping, and that'll be a concern for the games that are to come, but his 2 goals helping Aberdeen on their way. Gary Mackay-Steven with the 4th, Adam Rooney from the spot with the 1st. St Mirren's strike came from their top scorer, Gavin Riley. It brought it back to 2-1, but Aberdeen deservedly through after an even first half. They dominated the second, and Derek McInnes has guided his team through, and they are the first team through to tomorrow's 5th round draw for the William Hill Scottish Cup, which will take place after the derby in Edinburgh at Tynecastle. Graham Shinney will be hoping to lift the trophy for a second time, this time in his hometown shirt colours, come May. Yeah, Cammy Smith on the losing side today, but he's still got warm memories of his early days at Aberdeen. He will be hoping to lift silver himself come the end of the campaign and that championship trophy. As the big St Mirren travelling support acclaim their heroes. Niall McGinn, a returning hero for Aberdeen. Second time around debut for him today, and he showed the class that Aberdeen have been missing in the opening half of the season. Smiles all around for the men in red on a sunny winter's afternoon in the Granite City. Full time at Pittodrie, and it ends Aberdeen 4, St Mirren 1.
Well, that was all very straightforward for Aberdeen. It was a tie that some reckon had a shock potential about it with the championship leaders in town, but it really did not happen today for Stephen McGinn and St Mirren. And but for the moment it went 2-1 first half, and you just wondered whether the cup tie might be on. It was Aberdeen's day, and let's hear from a couple of their heroes with Chris McLaughlin.
Gents, well done at Scottish Cup progression. Did that feel good out there today?
Yeah, obviously coming back from the break and you're going into kind of such an important game in the Scottish Cup, our minds needed to be on it. Obviously we start off the game very well with the early goal, and then we were a bit frustrated how we kind of fell away at the end of the first half, but overall we're happy with the performance and through to the next round.
Gary, your goal was described by Billy Dodds as sweet as a nut. It was one of those, as soon as it left your foot it was in, wasn't it?
Yeah, I caught it well, so yeah, I was happy to see that hit the back of the net. It was nice, but I thought overall, as Ryan said, the performance was good all round. As a team collectively, I thought we'd done well. St Mirren are a really good team. They got a lot of good young players, but we showed what we're all about today, and it's pleasing.
Is this a squad of players who have the real belief that you can go all the way this time?
Yeah, definitely. I think that's definitely our main aim. When, you know, in every competition we enter, we feel that we're a good enough team to go and lift the trophy at the end of it. So this is like no other. Obviously, last season getting to the final, and we just fell a little bit short. You know, so that motivates us even more that we want to go on this season and you know, kind of finish this campaign in the best way possible.
There was a real sharpness, a real desire today. Is that the winter break coming into effect, do you think?
Yeah, I think the winter break is a great thing for Scottish football. We certainly felt refreshed. You know, it's good to get your mind away from football for a week or two and then come back and work hard and just feel refreshed for the second half of the season. So we certainly feel that, and it's definitely beneficial.
Are you feeling like you're also becoming the kind of player that Derek McInnes wants you to be here?
Yeah, definitely. I think it's all about just getting a run of games and getting your rhythm, and I feel good playing with a great group of players here, and I'm enjoying my football, and it's long may it continue.
Well, you are the William Hill Scottish Cup Man of the Match. I'll let your teammate do the honours. Well done, guys.
Cheers. Cheers. Thank you.
Those two scored 3 of the 4 goals, between them Ryan Christie and Gary Mackay-Steven, and it was plain sailing in the end for Aberdeen into the draw already for the 5th round of the competition. Let's get the post-match thoughts of these two alongside me, shivering Willie Miller.
We're hugging like penguins now.
Stephen Thompson. We've had to hug each other. It got that cold. We didn't really want to, but we felt we had to. Aberdeen far from firing on all cylinders, but an emphatic win in the end.
Yeah, I thought the first half they were sluggish. I didn't think they started the game particularly well. But they were gifted goals, and when you're gifted goals, then that gives you a little bit of breathing space. I thought the second half they were more like themselves, though. You know, Mackay-Steven's goal was just superb, but Ryan Christie, I thought, was fabulous. The second half, the runs he made, the positions he got himself into, hitting the byline both sides of the park as well. It was quite comfortable for Aberdeen in the end. I thought it would have been at the beginning of the game, but I thought that St Mirren kind of played a big part in their own downfall.
Yeah, that will be the disappointment for Jack Ross, that they haven't really shown their best here. They haven't really pushed Aberdeen.
No, they didn't. And the second half was a non-event. As soon as the Gary Mackay-Steven goal went in, St Mirren were second best all over the pitch, and it just shows the difference, and it'll be an eye-opener for Jack and the rest of the players, the difference between the top end of the Premiership and the top end of the Championship. And it was vast in that second half, and very obvious. Aberdeen completely deserving to go through and totally in control in that second half.
These were the 3 first half goals for Aberdeen. St Mirren, of course, scored to make it 2-1. Then it quickly became 3-1. But this was the opener, and well, inside 7 minutes, you don't want to be gifting a goal to the home team.
It's not ideal, Robin. And you know, it was kind of emblematic of Stelios' performance for the rest of the match. He had a really poor game, and Rooney doesn't miss penalties, as Willie's told us. And you know, St Mirren were the architect of their own downfalls all day today, really. Another slack goal from them here. Very avoidable goal. But in saying that, it was decent play from Aberdeen and a good finish from Christie. And Willie's right, he was outstanding today, was Christie, along with Gary Mackay-Steven, it has to be said as well.
In a sense, the third goal for Aberdeen was the most disappointing one for St Mirren, because they'd got it back to 2-1, and suddenly they could feel that the cup tie was back alive again.
Yeah, they were in the game again, and you know, it's another defensive error. But again, from an Aberdeen point of view, a lovely little cross to the back post, and Ryan Christie just there to nod it in.
And he's been polishing up his dancing in Dubai by the looks of it.
Yeah, I think he's got a bit of work to do yet.
He sure has. But the life for St Mirren was snuffed out in terms of the cup tie less than 2 minutes into the second half. What a goal from Gary Mackay-Steven.
Unbelievable. It was nice for the game to have a goal of absolute real quality, and it is, again, you know, we're not going to concentrate on the mistake here by Smith. We'll concentrate on the finish, which was just incredible. And where we are in our commentary position here, to see it get in the top corner, it was just an unbelievable strike from a player that's thriving just now.
It's such a difficult angle, isn't it? I mean, it has got to be perfect, and the strike is perfect. You know, it's just clipped to underside of the bar. You know, but on the edge of the penalty box, just at that angle, really difficult to beat.
And that was the game over at that point.
Absolutely.
You know, it really did set the tone for the second half, and Aberdeen completely dominated.
Well, not the day that Jack Ross was wishing for, that's for sure. The St Mirren manager, here he is with Chris.
Jack, is that simply an afternoon to forget for you?
No, I think that I was pleased with us first half. I thought we played well for long periods of that, and we were punished for individual mistakes in that period. And then I think Gary's goal after half time is real quality, and that kills the game. And the latter part of the game I'm not bothered about, because it's then just about making sure we're intact and we move on from it. So no, there's loads for us to take from it individually. It won't impact upon us and what our bigger goal is this season. So they enjoyed parts of the game and how we played. There are all areas we can improve on.
I'm wondering what your players will learn from this today in terms of their ambitions to be a top flight side.
Well, I think that probably the first half is the bit we'll look back on the most, because I think there were periods in the game where we were good and our shape was good. But what we did learn was that if you make individual mistakes, as we did in that period, then you'll be punished. And I know people say that all the time, but it's a good team. It's a good Aberdeen side with really good individual players, and they punished us for making mistakes in that period. And we probably weren't as ruthless with the opportunities we had in that period as well. And as I mentioned, the goal after half time really kills the game as a contest.
But as you say, you have very different priorities now, don't you?
Yeah, that's not to say this game wasn't important to us. We wanted to win it. We wanted to progress in the cup. And it's a disappointed changing room because they're used to winning games. But ultimately, our goal has been all season is to achieve promotion. And every time we've had a setback this season in the league, we've responded really well. And I'm sure the players will do the same.
Thanks, Jack.
Thanks, Chris.
Yeah, it could be a timely reality check for St Mirren about the further development they need to make, not just to get promoted, but then to survive in the top league as well.
Yeah, it was interesting to hear Jack saying that he will take positives from the game, especially in that first half performance, and it is an eye-opener for him, and it'll allow Jack to see what sort of players he needs to recruit if they are to be promoted. But the priority, as I said before the game, for St Mirren wasn't about winning the Scottish Cup. It's about getting back to the Premiership, and that's where the focus needs to be for the rest of the season.
Let's hear from the winning manager now, Derek McInnes with Chris.
Derek, well done. How pleased are you with that today?
Very pleased. You know, I think part of the reason you boys are here is because it may be seen as a scalp and an upset today, and you know, I understand that totally. We're up against a good team in St Mirren, and you know, I think we had to work hard for it. It wasn't all straightforward. You know, I think there was moments of sloppiness in our game, and we gave them a bit of encouragement. Disappointed with the goal we lose, but you know, I'd like to talk about the positives from the performance. Some very good goals. I thought we were very clinical in the first half. And I thought we scored some very good goals. I loved Christie's 2 finishes with plenty of bodies in the box, and obviously Gary's finish is top drawer, as I'm sure you've been talking about. You know, I thought it was fantastic finish, and I think the second half, you know, the pitch was playing difficult. It wasn't a lot of speed in the pitch, and we tried to get minutes into Niall and Stevie, who clearly need some minutes and some game time. But I thought we were very experienced in the second half, and just seeing the game out, I thought we passed up a few opportunities. But we're always aware of the threat of St Mirren on the counter-attack. You know, they worked extremely hard, and you can see exactly why they've been getting results in their own division. I thought both their team and their support were fantastic today. But there's no doubt we were a better team throughout the 90 minutes, deserved to get in, and I'm pleased with the work that the players have shown, knowing that we've got that rustiness out us, I think, hopefully, get into the game on Wednesday.
Is this a group of players that can go all the way?
I think the intention's exactly that. You know, I think there's no point in getting into cup competition if you don't feel you can win it. I think there'll be a few teams who will be disappointed if they don't win it. I think there'll be a lot of teams hoping to win it, but we'll be one of the few teams I think will be very disappointed if we don't win it. So, and there's nothing wrong with that, you know. And you know, we know how difficult it is. Today was a challenge. We've overcome that challenge, and really pleased with the day's work.
Thanks, Derek. Well done.
Thank you. Cheers.
Yeah, pretty much a perfect day for Derek McInnes. The 4-1 win, it was emphatic, it was overwhelming, and he got Niall McGinn back on the pitch as well, which warmed the cockles of your heart, Willie, and they needed warming today, to be honest.
They certainly did, yeah. No, I think it's good to get Niall McGinn back, there's no doubt about that, in Scottish football, but for Aberdeen fans it's a sight that they didn't think that they would see, and you know, and just watching them, you know, the intelligence of the man. Okay, it's a bit of a scissor kick here, maybe a little bit
should have scored,
over dramatic with it, maybe it should have been a little bit more simpler in terms of the finish, but he gives you so much. He gives you goals, he does, but he gives you delivery from a wide
That's
area.
the key, is the delivery. I think Aberdeen have missed that this season, and this is just an example of what he's capable of. And you know, Rooney in particular will benefit from this. His delivery into the box is as good as there is in the league, and he doesn't just bring assists, he brings goals as well, and it's a massive signing for Aberdeen to get him back at the club.
He looked very fit, he looked very sharp, and I think his return will be good news for Adam Rooney as well, who hasn't scored the number of goals probably so far this season he would have expected to have done, but the presence of McGinn and the creative abilities of McGinn will certainly help. Just before we go on, I want to make a quick mention for the 600 St Mirren fans who were chanting your name most of the match, but they sang all through the second half.
You would have thought they were 4-1 up. Not 4-1 down, they were superb, they were absolutely brilliant, probably just trying to stay warm more than anything, I would imagine.
And they did chant my name as well, but
they did.
It was a slightly different tone.
It was different words, I think, Willie.
It wasn't quite.
They haven't forgotten me.
It wasn't quite so complimentary as far as you were concerned. Thanks a lot to Willie, thanks a lot to Stephen. The comprehensive coverage of the Scottish Cup continues on BBC Scotland. Aberdeen already are through into the 5th round draw, which takes place after the Edinburgh Derby tomorrow. From all of us at Pittodrie, bye.